You wake up thinking you're doing everything right. You drink some water, stretch a little, maybe even say a prayer or mentally organize your day. You walk to the kitchen ready to start healthy. But within 20 minutes, there it is again. That burning sensation climbing up your throat, the tightness behind your chest, that bitter taste you've come to recognize. The morning reflux is back, and you haven't even really eaten yet. Most people who suffer from chronic acid reflux or heartburn focus all their attention on lunch, dinner, and snacks. They eliminate spicy foods, avoid fried meals, and cut back on soda. But they never question what's happening in the very first hour of the day. And that's where the damage often begins. Because reflux isn't just about what you eat. It's about when you eat, how you eat, and especially what your body is exposed to in the first 30 minutes after waking up. And chances are, if your mornings start like most people's, your stomach is being attacked before it even has a chance to wake up properly. Here's what your body doesn't tell you out loud. When you sleep, your digestive system slows down significantly. The acid in your stomach becomes more concentrated. Your esophageal sphincter relaxes. Your body is in a completely different mode. Then, without any preparation, you shock it awake. Not with something soothing, but with a high-acidity beverage like coffee, an empty stomach, and a jolt of stress from the rush of daily responsibilities. You're not waking up your body, you're ambushing. Let's talk about the habit that almost every adult over 50 has developed and refuses to question. Drinking coffee before eating anything solid. It seems harmless. In fact, it seems necessary. You feel tired, foggy, like nothing starts until that first cup of caffeine. But here's what happens physiologically. Black coffee, especially on an empty stomach, stimulates gastric acid production, irritates the lining of the stomach, and relaxes the lower esophageal valve. That's a triple threat if you suffer from GERD or any kind of chronic reflux. Even decaf coffee can have this effect due to its natural oils and acidity. And yet, it's such an emotional ritual. That steaming cup in your hands, the warmth, the aroma, it's comforting. But while it comforts your mind, it quietly punishes your digestive system. And it's not just the coffee, it's what often accompanies it. A slice of toast, maybe some orange juice, sometimes yogurt with fruit. All of these seem light and healthy, but they're forming a perfect storm. Toast, especially white bread or anything fermented with yeast, increases stomach acid production and can be hard to digest early in the day. Orange juice is one of the most acidic beverages you can consume, and it strips away the mucosal protection of the esophagus. Yogurt, if it's the sweetened or flavored kind, adds sugars and artificial ingredients that feed inflammation and bloating. Even the so-called healthy cereal, often processed, sugary, or coated in milk, contribute to a gut environment that's inflamed before you've even begun your day. Many seniors, especially those trying to eat light in the morning to feel more in control of their digestion or weight, unknowingly choose exactly the wrong combination of foods. The result is a vicious cycle. The reflux hits, you take an antacid or PPI, you feel a little better, then repeat the same breakfast routine the next day. Meanwhile, your esophagus becomes more sensitive, your stomach more dependent on medication, and your body more confused about what normal digestion even feels like. One of the most overlooked triggers is fasting too long in the morning. Yes, too much fasting. While intermittent fasting is praised by many, skipping breakfast or delaying food intake when you already have a sensitive stomach often backfires. Why? Because when the stomach is empty for too long, the acid has nothing to work on. It starts irritating the stomach lining itself. Combine that with stress hormones like cortisol, which are naturally higher in the morning, and you've got an acid-heavy, tension-filled digestive system that's one step away from rebellion. And yet, so many people do this every day, thinking it's healthy discipline, not realizing it's self-sabotage for those with reflux. There's also a psychological layer to all of this. People over 55 often grew up hearing that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but they were also taught by diet culture to eat light And now, they're stuck between two conflicting messages. What ends up on the plate? Half a banana, a glass of juice, a low-fat yogurt, maybe a biscuit. It's gentle, right? But gentle doesn't mean safe. And every bite, every sip, sets the tone for the rest of the day's digestion. Think of your esophagus like a road that has been slightly damaged by years of storms. The more you drive heavy vehicles over it without repairing the surface, the worse the cracks get. Your breakfast choices are either helping you rebuild the road or sending another truck down it. That first hour after you wake up is when your gut is most vulnerable and most in need of calm, healing, and nourishment. But what most people do is the opposite. They add friction, they introduce chaos, and then they wonder why their body is inflamed and exhausted before noon. And here's something even more subtle: the lack of hydration. Many people drink coffee before drinking a single sip of water. The body wakes up dehydrated after hours of sleep. Acid levels are higher, tissues are more fragile, and the mucosal linings need hydration to function properly. By skipping water and jumping straight to acidic diuretic drinks, you're not just dehydrating yourself further. You're thinning the protective layers that keep acid from burning your esophagus. So, what's really happening? It's not that your body is broken. It's that your morning habits were built without understanding what reflux actually is. It's not always a response to overeating. Often, it's a response to waking up the wrong way. A fragile stomach exposed to acid before it's protected. A dry esophagus greeted with hot coffee. A nervous system jolted awake before the digestive system even opens its eyes. This isn't just poor digestion, it's poor rhythm. And when you disrupt your body's rhythm every single day, it's no surprise it fights back. And once that reaction starts in the morning, that burning, that pressure, it sets the tone for the rest of the day. You feel tired, your breathing gets shallow. You may even avoid food later for fear of making it worse. But, ironically, that avoidance only increases the stomach's acidity again. It's a chain reaction of discomfort that could have been prevented by a different first step. What if the real solution isn't in another medication, another restriction, or another complicated rule, but in simply relearning how to wake up your body with kindness? That's where the change begins. Not at lunch, not with pills, but with the first thing you put in your stomach when you rise. You don't have to be eating something greasy or spicy to suffer from reflux. Sometimes it's the healthy choices that are hurting you the most, simply because they're not healthy for your stomach. And that's the heartbreaking part. So many people over 50 start their mornings thinking they're doing the right thing. They eat light, they avoid sugar, they skip heavy foods. But what they don't realize is that they're choosing foods that are chemically acidic, mucosa irritating, or fermentation triggering, all before their stomach has properly stabilized from the overnight fast. Take orange juice, for example. One of the most common, healthy breakfast drinks in the world. It's packed with vitamin C, it tastes fresh, and it feels energizing. But in the stomach of someone with acid sensitivity, orange juice acts like an acid bomb. It can strip away the protective lining of the esophagus, delay gastric emptying, and spike acid production. The result? That burning, gnawing discomfort you feel before you've even made it to mid-morning. Or let's talk about yogurt. So many people eat yogurt, thinking it's gentle and probiotic-rich. But not all yogurts are created equal. Most store-bought brands are sweetened, flavored, and thickened with gums that increase inflammation and feed harmful bacteria. Even unsweetened yogurt made from cow's milk can cause problems. Dairy contains casein and lactose, which many older adults struggle to digest, especially on an empty stomach. And when digestion is already sluggish in the morning, this combination can sit heavy, ferment, and rise back up. Then there's bread, toast, crackers, biscuits, often made from white flour or heavily fermented dough. These break down quickly into sugars and can cause bloating, trigger fermentation, and lead to an acidic gut environment. Combine that with coffee, and you're not just feeding your body, you're lighting a match next to a gas leak. But let's step back. This isn't about shame or restriction. It's about re-educating yourself on how to eat in alignment with what your body actually needs, not what society has sold as light or breakfast-worthy. And when you understand what your gut is begging for in the morning, you begin to feel a peace you haven't felt in years. That gentle start, that calm stomach, that first hour of the day without discomfort, burning, or the panic of a rising acid wave. So, what should you eat instead? Let's begin with hydration. Before anything else, your body is crying out for water. Not coffee, not juice, just water, ideally warm or at room temperature. It helps flush out excess acid, lubricates the esophagus, and gently wakes up the digestive tract without causing a spike in gastric acid. For an extra benefit, you can add a pinch of baking soda or a slice of cucumber, both of which have alkaline properties and soothe the stomach lining. Next comes healing solids, foods that coat and calm the gut rather than irritate it. One powerful option is overnight oats, soaked in water, or a non-dairy milk like oat or rice milk. This creates a mucilaginous texture that acts almost like a bandage inside your digestive tract. Oats contain soluble fiber, which slows digestion in a gentle way and helps regulate acid levels. Another overlooked hero is the banana, but not the ripe, spotty one. We're talking about green banana, or even boiled plantain. Unripe bananas are rich in resistant starch, which doesn't ferment as easily in the stomach and actually feeds the good bacteria in your gut. They're also alkaline and soothing, making them one of the few fruits that are safe first thing in the morning for people with GERD. Pears, especially steamed or cooked, are another secret weapon. Naturally low in acidity, easy to digest, and full of pectin, they help regulate digestion while also reducing inflammation in the esophageal lining. A warm pear puree with a sprinkle of cinnamon, which is anti-inflammatory, can be both comforting and medicinal. And let's not forget the power of herbal teas, but with a warning. Not all teas are reflux-friendly. Peppermint, for example, can relax the esophageal valve and make symptoms worse. Instead, opt for chamomile, slippery elm, marshmallow root, or fennel, all of which coat the stomach and soothe inflammation. Drinking them warm, not hot, and slowly, not rushed, makes a huge difference. Now imagine starting your day like this. You wake up, stretch, and drink a warm glass of water with cucumber. You take a few deep breaths, perhaps journal, or read something spiritual for a few minutes. Then you prepare a bowl of soft oats with cooked pear, a dash of cinnamon, and maybe a few soaked flax seeds. You sip a chamomile tea, slowly, while looking outside your window. You feel settled. Your chest isn't tight. There's no burning, no panic, just calm. And this calm doesn't just stay in your stomach. It ripples through your nervous system. You breathe more deeply. Your thoughts are clearer. You feel in control of your body again, not like a hostage to a problem you don't understand. Because that's the truth, isn't it? Reflux makes people feel powerless. It shows up out of nowhere. It ruins meals. It keeps you up at night. It makes you afraid of food. And for many people, it starts first thing in the morning, when they least expect it. But now you know better. You know it's not random. It's not fate. It's not age. It's rhythm. It's what you do in the first 30 minutes that decides how the rest of your day will unfold. So what's next? In the upcoming part, we're going to dig even deeper into the most common hidden habits that are quietly fueling your reflux, including stress rituals, posture mistakes, and misunderstood supplements. You'll learn how tiny shifts in your morning routine can unlock big relief, and how to build a daily rhythm that doesn't just prevent reflux. It rebuilds your trust in your own body, and that's where real healing begins. Sometimes, the worst thing you do for your reflux isn't what you eat, it's what you feel. It's what you tell yourself before breakfast. It's the tension in your jaw, the shallow breathing, the way your shoulders rise without you realizing. It's the emotional climate of your morning that fuels the acid, not just the contents of your plate. Let's pause and ask something few doctors ever bring up. What's your first thought when you wake up? For many people suffering from chronic reflux, it's not, "What can I nourish myself with today?" It's something closer to, I hope I don't feel that burn again. Or worse, what do I have to fight through today? That internal script of fear, urgency, pressure, it sets off a cascade of stress hormones. And when cortisol and adrenaline rise sharply in the morning, your digestive system is one of the first things to suffer. Why? Because your body is wired to protect you. When it senses danger, even emotional danger, it pulls blood away from digestion. Your stomach tenses, your esophageal valve weakens, your breathing becomes more vertical, less diaphragmatic. And guess what happens when you sip coffee or eat something mildly acidic in that state? The reflux is immediate, more aggressive, and more painful, because your nervous system is already compromised. Here's something almost no one talks about. Reflux is often a nervous system issue before it becomes a digestive one. Think of your esophagus like a security system. When you're calm and grounded, it's alert but stable. When you're anxious and on edge, it becomes hyperreactive. It misreads signals. It overreacts. Even small amounts of stomach acid can feel like fire when your nervous system is already inflamed. So what can you do about this? The answer is simpler than you think, but it requires honesty and consistency. First, examine your morning rituals. Are you starting your day by checking your phone, reading email, scrolling through stressful news? These habits may feel harmless, but they prime your body for reactivity. The blue light, the mental stimulation, the comparison, the urgency, they all spike your fight or flight response before you've even sat down for breakfast. Try this instead. Before looking at a screen, take 90 seconds to simply breathe. Yes, just breathe. Inhale deeply through your nose. Feel your belly expand. Exhale slowly through your mouth. This resets your vagus nerve, the command center of your digestive system, and signals your body that it's safe. Safe to digest. Safe to heal. Next, check your posture. You'd be surprised how many people eat breakfast hunched over a counter, slouched on a couch, or rushing around with bites between tasks. This position compresses your abdomen, pushes acid upward, and weakens the esophageal barrier. Instead, sit upright, shoulders relaxed, feet flat on the floor. Let your body know it's time to receive food, not fight it. And then there's movement, or rather, the lack of it. Many people with reflux avoid movement in the morning because they fear it will trigger symptoms. But gentle movement can actually help reduce reflux by stimulating digestion, releasing tension, and improving posture. A slow 5-minute walk around the house, a few arm circles, gentle neck rolls. These might sound basic, but they are signals to your body. I'm awake, I'm grounded, I'm present. But we also need to talk about supplements, especially the ones taken too early, on an empty stomach, or without knowing their side effects. Many older adults take calcium, magnesium, iron, or multivitamins first thing in the morning. While these may be necessary, they can irritate the stomach lining, slow gastric emptying, and increase acid production if not taken properly. Iron, for example, is a common cause of nausea and burning when taken alone. Calcium carbonate, found in many over-the-counter antacids, may provide temporary relief, but worsen acid rebound in the long term. If you're taking medications or supplements in the morning, always ask, is my stomach ready to receive this? Could I wait 20 minutes and pair it with food that buffers its effects? Could I switch to a different form, like magnesium glycinate instead of magnesium oxide, to reduce irritation? And then there's one of the most emotional habits of all, swallowing emotion. Literally. How many mornings have you bitten your tongue, pushed down grief, hidden worry, or faked peace just to get through the day? That internal pressure doesn't stay in your chest. It travels downward. It affects your digestion. It affects your breath. It affects the pressure in your stomach. And slowly, silently, it becomes reflux. Because reflux isn't just acid. It's often expression denied. It's the voice you didn't use, the boundary you didn't set, the stress you absorbed instead of releasing. And over time, your body starts to speak in symptoms because your words never made it out. So what would it look like to start your morning not just with new foods, but with a new emotional rhythm? Maybe it's writing one sentence in a journal. Today, I choose calm. Maybe it's placing your hand over your heart and taking one deep breath before breakfast. Maybe it's looking out your window and whispering, I deserve to feel safe in my own body again. It may sound small, but these small rituals rewire everything: your nervous system, your digestion, and eventually, your symptom. It's also important to prepare your environment. A cluttered kitchen, harsh lighting, or even background noise from the TV can agitate your senses and create unconscious stress. Instead, try setting the table the night before. Leave a clean cup for your morning tea. Have your ingredients ready for your healing breakfast. These are acts of self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of healing. You've probably spent years trying to fix your stomach with pills, restrictions, and food rules. But now, maybe it's time to teach your mornings how to love you back, to protect your rhythm, to slow down, to rebuild safety. Because the truth is, reflux doesn't just attack your body, it robs your peace. And peace is something you can reclaim, one morning at a time. In the next part, we'll look at the long-term strategy, how to build a sustainable healing morning routine that not only reduces reflux, but transforms the way you experience food, energy, and life after 55. You'll learn how to reconnect with your body, how to break the habit of fear around breakfast, and how to feel in control again, starting tomorrow morning. And the best part? It doesn't require perfection, just intention. You've been taught to manage your reflux, to survive it, to reduce the symptoms. But what if you could go further? What if you could start healing, not just from acid in your throat, but from the invisible life patterns that feed it? That's what this final part is about. Not just food, not just habits, but ownership. Ownership of your rhythm, your mornings, your health, in a way that feels sacred instead of clinical. Because healing reflux isn't about perfection, it's about repetition. What you do most often becomes what you feel most often. And now it's time to build a routine that doesn't just avoid the pain, but invites the peace. Let's build it together, step by step. It starts before you even get out of bed. That moment when you first open your eyes is the beginning of everything. Resist the urge to grab your phone. Instead, put one hand over your stomach and one hand over your chest. Breathe. Inhale through your nose slowly. Hold it for 3 seconds. Exhale through your mouth. Do it 3 times. This calms your vagus nerve and tells your gut, I'm not in danger. We're safe today. You've just lowered your acid reactivity before your feet even touch the ground. Then comes hydration, with purpose. Not cold water from the fridge, not lemon water if you're sensitive, but warm or room temperature water with a thin slice of cucumber or a pinch of baking soda. This gently alkalizes the body, supports liver detox, and prepares the stomach lining to receive food. Want a simple variation? Soak a few chia seeds or flax seeds in water overnight and drink them first thing. The gel they form is soothing and anti-inflammatory for your gut. Now, let's talk about breakfast itself, the most misunderstood meal for people with reflux. The goal is not just to avoid acidity, it's to build a lining of protection. Think of your stomach like a fragile house with smoke still lingering in the walls. You're not just avoiding fire, you're reinforcing the walls, repairing the roof, and sealing the windows. Here's a healing breakfast example that combines multiple principles we've discussed. Base: warm, cooked oats, soaked overnight if possible, cooked slowly with water or rice milk. Add-ins: 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed, anti-inflammatory, half of a cooked pear or mashed green banana, a pinch of cinnamon. Extras: a spoon of slippery elm powder or marshmallow root, mixed in for gut protection, if available. Drink: warm chamomile tea or marshmallow tea, sipped slowly, with deep breaths between each sip. This isn't just food, it's medicine, it's softness, it's structure. And when you eat it sitting down, with both feet on the ground, without screens, without rush, your nervous system recognizes it as safety. And safety is the most powerful antacid of all. But let's go deeper. Let's ask, what happens after breakfast? This is where most people sabotage their own progress. Not because they want to, but because no one ever taught them that what you do in the next 30 minutes matters just as much as what you ate. One of the worst habits after breakfast is lying down. You might feel tired, especially if you've been waking up in the middle of the night with acid reflux. But reclining after eating is one of the fastest ways to encourage acid to rise. Instead, try a 10-minute walk around your house, your garden, or even pacing gently inside your living room. Movement helps stimulate digestion and sends a message to your stomach. Let's move this downward, not upward. While walking, you can add a short mindfulness habit. Repeat a sentence to yourself, something like, "My body is learning how to feel safe again." This might sound silly, but words, like food, are digested. And when your internal language is full of fear, your gut feels that tension. You don't need affirmations to pretend everything's okay. You just need reminders that you're in control again. And what about the first hour of work or responsibility? Whether you're retired or still working, the start of the day often brings a wave of pressure. Phone calls, deadlines, caregiving, financial worries. These trigger adrenaline. And adrenaline doesn't just affect your heart, it weakens your digestion. So if possible, create a buffer zone, a non-negotiable first hour. This might include no screens for 30 minutes after breakfast, listening to calming music instead of news, writing down your to-do list after you've eaten, not during, a rule that says, nothing stressful happens before 9 a.m. This boundary doesn't make you lazy. It makes you strategic. You're putting your body's healing needs ahead of chaos. And guess what happens when you protect this rhythm for just 1 week? You sleep better. You breathe deeper. Your reflux becomes less intense. You start noticing patterns and breaking them. Let's add a final, often overlooked layer to your morning routine: preparation from the night before. Healing doesn't begin in the morning. It begins the evening before. So try these small changes. Soak your oats overnight. Boil or steam a pear and leave it in the fridge. Set out your tea mug and filter. Write down one sentence you want to wake up with. This makes your morning easier. And ease is healing. Because the less friction you feel in the first hour of the day, the fewer acids your stomach produces in panic. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but what happens when life gets messy? What if I forget? What if I'm traveling? What if I wake up late? Here's the most important truth. Consistency is not perfection. It's repetition. If you follow this rhythm 5 days a week and miss 2, your body still recognizes the new pattern. It still remembers the safety. It still heals. Your esophagus isn't asking for perfect food. It's asking for less trauma, less chaos, more signals that you care. And if you've made it this far, chances are you do care. You're not here to patch symptoms. You're here to rebuild, to reclaim your mornings, to stop letting reflux control your day before it even begins. In the final part, we'll uncover the deeper emotional layer of chronic reflux, including the connection between swallowed feelings, unresolved grief, and a body that's trying to get your attention through symptoms. You'll learn how to stop fighting your body and start listening to what it's been begging you to hear all along. Because maybe your reflux isn't just about food. Maybe it's your body's way of asking for a new way of living.